Welcome to the culture of materialism, where everything's made up and the facts don't matter. Everything is relative, nothing has meaning, right and wrong are completely ambiguous and subjective, the truth isn't absolute, and a woman is apparently a mythological creature with no definition. Could be anything. Whatever the caricature is that you can conjure up in your mind about the female being, it must be valid because the term woman is completely subjective and meaningless. There's no definition, so I guess anything or anyone could be a woman, or alternatively, no one could be a woman. Yes, the concept of a woman is now as interchangeable as Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And now that I have implied that Coke and Pepsi equals, Texas law demands that I now be flogged and burned as a witch for uttering such heresy. Because everyone knows that inside these state lines, only Dr. Pepper reigns supreme. So seriously, has there ever been a weirder time to be alive? The word woman is now controversial. I can honestly say that even as recently as 10 years ago, it never even crossed my mind that something as self-evident and axiomatic as biological sex was going to start confusing people. But now, in the year 2022, seemingly educated people are now perplexed by the term, just completely thrown off. Time magazine released an article back in March of this year. The headline reads, "What does it mean to be a woman? It's complicated." Is it though? Because no one in my family has ever struggled with this question. I gotta be honest with you, but I guess only someone from Time Magazine is smart enough to be this stupid. I mean, I guess I shouldn't expect a whole lot from the organization that called Adolf Hitler their Man of the Year in 1938. But here's an article from the Independent Journal Review. Scientists claim that there is not a simple answer to define woman. Really? Because I figured out an answer to that question before I even took my first science class. I had no idea I was such a scientific prodigy. Apparently I really missed my calling in life, didn't I? The article actually reads, Rebecca Jordan Young, a scientist and gender studies scholar at Barnard College, there's a useless degree, told the paper, "I don't want to see this question punted to biology as if science can offer a simple, definitive answer." Lady, if you don't have a Y chromosome, there's your answer. Okay. But anyhow, thankfully, to the great relief of the scientific community, Matt Walsh came to the rescue in June of this year with his hit documentary, What is a Woman?, to help these poor, confused souls get to the bottom of the question that has apparently been haunting them all this time. Now, if you haven't seen the documentary yet, What is a Woman?, I can't recommend enough that you go get a Daily Wire subscription and give it a watch. It's genuinely great, not to mention important for the times that we're living in. I'm not affiliated with the Daily Wire. They don't know who I am. I'm just giving an honest recommendation. Now, all of this is simply a very long-winded way of saying this. As detached as the loudest people in our culture have become from basic fundamental truths of existence, we can no longer be surprised that most in our culture seem to have completely broken or improperly functioning moral compasses. It can't surprise us anymore. If up and down or male and female become ambiguous to you, so does right and wrong. It's unavoidable. Now, Christians have an advantage in that we have a direct line to God, who is the standard of truth and of good, and we have a manual to help us grow in wisdom and discernment. The problem is that most Christians nowadays don't really pay any mind to him or to his word, and so their wisdom, far from increasing, tends to atrophy and diminish. This is clearly the case in the Church of England, because, as this article says from the New York Post, even the Church of England has fallen from the truth of God and into insanity and decadence. An article from the New York Post says, the Church of England refuses to define the word woman. Yes, even many in the church have fallen into this insanity. Only a fool despises the truth. And it seems that the Church of England is full of them. I'm not saying everyone in the church is a fool, but seems like the higher-ups definitely are. Even animals inherently know the difference between male and female. Chimpanzees have more common sense than these geniuses, okay? As someone who wrote a book for single Christians about dating and sexual morality, and who frequently talks about such things to young singles, I find this trend quite distressing. And by the way, there are only 6 copies left of my book on Amazon, so order one before they run out. Links are in the description below. But anyhow, so why am I disheartened by this? Well, because a culture that cannot define what a man or a woman is, cannot define what a good man or a good woman is. If you can't define man, you can't define good man. If you can't define woman, you can't define good woman. The two do not follow. Young men don't know what role models to emulate. Young women don't know how they ought to behave. They don't know what the ideal is. And neither one of these people knows how to pick a quality spouse because they don't know what to look for. When the term woman has no meaning, neither does the term good. You eliminate the perception of objective truth from society, and everything becomes subjective, thus no one knows what it means to be good or what it looks like when someone else is good. That's the danger we run into here. Now, there's a simple solution to this problem, which is turn to the source of truth, which is God and His Word, and you can get back into alignment. Now, contrary to what many apologists of atheism claim, those with thriving spiritual and prayer lives tend to be the most grounded in reality. None of us are being confused about biological sex. None of us who are grounded in our faith are getting confused about the state of reality. The truth will set you free indeed. Now, speaking specifically to single people who are engaged in the dating pool, insofar as you seek to discern what a good man or a good woman is, so you can find a quality partner, understandably, I do have some small measure of advice for you. You'll have to check out my book if you want access to all of my endless wisdom. But I can unload a little bit of it now. And again, only 6 copies left of my book on Amazon. Again, so just grab a copy before they run out. They will order more eventually, but it will take a little bit of time, so you'll have to be patient. Jesus tells us in Matthew 7, "You will recognize a good tree or a bad tree by the fruits that they bear." Okay, those are his words. A good fruit does not come from a rotten tree, and bad fruit seldom comes from a good tree. In other words, if a man regularly does bad and immoral things, then you can be assured that he is not an overall good man. Right? It's pretty simple, right? No one wants to gorge themselves on apples from a rotten and moldy orchard, right? But it is up to the woman to use her God-given faculties of reason and wisdom to discern which trees or men are rotten. That's on the woman. She is called to use wisdom and discernment in her choices. So what does rotten fruit look like? Well, I've got a list for your convenience. If you want a good man, ladies, avoid men who have a tendency to do the following things. And men, if you want to be a man worthy of a good woman, don't do the following things. A good man does not lie, cheat, steal, go out and get drunk, try to get you, the girl, drunk. A good man does not do drugs or own drug paraphernalia. A good man does not talk down to you. He does not skip out on his responsibilities. He does not curse at you or call you profane names. A good man does not treat you like a servant or a doormat. And he most certainly does not look at porn or ask you to look at porn. It's amazing how many young men think that this is okay. A good man does not masturbate. Men, stop doing that. Okay, stop doing this. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone else. Leave it alone. A good man does not put his hands on a woman's breasts or private parts. Keep your hands to yourself, but still don't masturbate. A good man does not try to get his hands under your clothes. A good man does not pressure you into sex, particularly premarital sex. Okay? A good man does not try for alternative forms of sex as a loophole. There are no moral loopholes, guys. If it involves that area, it's sex. Leave it alone. A good man does not ask for suggestive or inappropriate pictures from a woman, such as nudes. A good man does not do this. Don't be asking her to subject herself to that. Leave it alone. A good man certainly does not send pictures of his own private body parts to women. Seriously, guys, no woman wants to see your giblets. Okay, keep it in your pants. Don't be taking pictures of it. Don't be exposing it to cyberspace where anyone can see it. It's not sexy. It's just extremely creepy. Okay, it's not as aesthetically pleasing to the eye as you might think it is. I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but all you weirdos, keep it to yourself. I'm sorry, I digress. But a good man, moving on, a good man does not pursue you or any other woman known to have a boyfriend or a husband. A good man does not date multiple women at the same time. A good man does not pursue any woman wearing a wedding ring. And he does not ask you to live with him outside of marriage. Cohabitation is a no-no. This is not. If you're not married, you don't live together. It's simple as that. A good man does not hit or threaten you. If you're ever threatened, or heaven forbid, if you're ever hit, you leave and get as far away from that person as you can. Probably have them arrested. A good man does not excuse immoral behavior by saying something to the effect of, well, I just can't help it, or I just have to be myself. Those are cop-outs. Don't fall for it, girls. If he's an ill-behaving man, don't be falling for any of his excuses, okay? And lastly, a good man is not a slave to his urges or desires, sexual or otherwise. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, why would you even bother with a list like this? Why would you even put that together? It seems pretty obvious that all those traits are to be avoided in a significant other. Well, good for you. If you said that, if you asked that question, then you're one of the smart ones. But a lot of you ladies out there are going after men who check off a lot of these undesirable boxes and who do a lot of these bad things. In fact, a lot of you ladies are doing this habitually, or you're seeking these men out. If it looks like a snake, moves like a snake, sounds like a snake, acts like a snake, you are about to get bitten. Right? A good man does good things and develops good habits. A bad man does bad things and develops bad habits. A man's actions are a reflection of the condition of his heart. It's not hard to figure out. God wants what is good for you, and a serpent is not what is best for you. So use wisdom and discernment while choosing who to date and who to eventually marry. Of course, now that I've talked about what low-quality men look like and act like, I now have to pick on the women. It's only fair. So let the mansplaining begin. Proverbs 31:10 says, "A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies." And it is true. Truer words have never been spoken. A good woman can indeed be difficult to find in our fallen world. I know this well. I was single and searching for a very long time before I met my wonderful wife. Now, men can be even worse at picking out a quality partner than women can be, because we tend to be very visually stimulated. That's just our natural state. We are motivated not just by our hearts and emotions, but by our eyes. When we see something that we like, we can develop emotional responses rather quickly, and this can make us very stupid if we allow it to. As the great Ben Kenobi said, "Your eyes can deceive you, don't trust them." We have to be very careful, men, that our eyes are not pulled to the wrong things so as not to be deceived, because our eyes can, in fact, deceive us. We cannot physically see past a woman's physical appearance. This is where using wisdom comes in handy. We need to look deeper than the physical appearance to see the fruits that grow from the tree. Look beneath the surface to see whether we find diamonds or coal. Now, men are not always so great at this. I don't mean to laugh, but look closely, men, to see if this is a good woman of noble character, a good tree bearing good fruit. At the risk of sounding redundant with yet another list, a good woman does not generally lie, cheat, steal, dress provocatively. I'm going to catch a lot of flack for that one, but it's a big one. A good woman does not try to attract men primarily by using her body. Let your character attract him. Don't be trying to show your navel and as much skin as you can. Okay, this is not good for you, ladies. This is for your benefit. Don't be doing this. A good woman does not drink heavily. She does not do drugs or own drug paraphernalia. A good woman does not look at porn or claim that it's alright for men to look at porn. A good woman does not sleep around. She does not try to get men into bed outside of marriage. A good woman does not engage in alternative forms of sex, seeking a moral loophole. Again, this does not exist. If it involves that area, it's sex. Stop it. A good woman does not move in with a boyfriend. No cohabitation. Again, a good woman does not let men touch or grope her. A good woman does not send you or any man naked pictures or provocative pictures. Again, keep it to yourself. Wrap the gift. Don't. This is for your husband to see, no one else. Okay, so stop sending pictures of yourself to cyberspace like this. A good woman does not use sex as a means of finding love. A good woman does not tolerate men who curse at her or call her profane names. A good woman does not hit or verbally abuse a man. A good woman does not date married men or pursue any man wearing a wedding ring. A good woman does not try to come between a man and his girlfriend. A good woman does not try to get a man or anyone else drunk. A good woman does not try to pressure you into immoral behavior. She does not flake on you. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. And a good woman does not need a man like you to save her from herself, from her own life choices. Okay. If a woman is living poorly, if she's living an immoral lifestyle, it is not on you, men, to save her from herself. Okay, that is Jesus' job. Leave her alone. You're not going to date her to Christ. I could not approve of that strategy less. Okay? And a good woman does not date men who habitually do the things on the last list that I gave. As with a good man, a good woman does good things and develops good habits. An immoral woman with immoral intentions does the things on the list I just gave. By no means, of course, can you expect to find a woman who has never made a mistake in her life. Obviously. I mean, there is no such thing as a perfect human being. Man or woman, we're all flawed. We're all sinful beings. On the other hand, whether or not you find somebody who is actively engaged in immoral things and an immoral lifestyle, this is a sure way to see what is in their heart, the condition of their heart. Are they living for themselves or are they living for Christ? You will not find a heart of gold in a woman who tries to sweet talk you into sexual immorality. It just won't happen. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 31:30, charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Don't let a woman's pretty face and smooth words distract you from what could be a heart of coal. A good, moral, God-fearing woman will not lead you down an immoral or destructive path. A woman who encourages good habits is the kind of gold that you are looking for. Our world may be going increasingly insane, this is true, but that does not mean that we have to follow them into that insanity. As followers of Christ, we get to ground ourselves in the truth, and grow in wisdom, and we get to make good and wise decisions. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not yet, don't forget to check out my book, Back to the Basics of Love, A Single Christian's Guide to Dating, Sex, and Morality in a Secular World. I truly believe in this book and its importance. I would not be plugging it otherwise. So go ahead and check it out. Links are in the description below. And of course, if you appreciated what you heard, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find me on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and Facebook. It would help me out immensely, so go ahead and get that done. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless.